Kumba Iron Ore said they believe that the Sishen-Soldana rail line will run at about 16% below capacity. So they are going to adjust their production to lower rail capacity. What is Assmang's view on that?
I'm going to attempt to answer the question including the manganese, because it impacts both sides. Since the new leadership of Transnet have been engaging us, the level of transparency and engagement has been much improved. And Transnet can almost say also open their soul a bit, and they allowed us to do an independent technical assessment of that line, all the producers collectively. And then also we engage through various other industry forums with Transnet. We've got the Mineral Council. I've got a meeting once a quarter with the Transnet board chair and with the Transnet CEO. Through this new entity they formed that's chaired by the president of the country, which is called the National Logistics Crisis Committee. There's an effort going in. So with having said all of that, having seen all of that, we all realize that the state of Transnet is not what it was, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort and money to get Transnet back to the nameplate capacity. The other thing is it's not going to happen in a week. You can put the best management team there, and we are working very closely with Transnet in that regard and the other industry players, and there's various programs at play. So based on that, we agree with the Kumba numbers that you're looking at about 87–88% of nameplate capacity for the future. And that's why you would have seen that our forecast for the iron ore is 12.5 million tons of export per annum. So we did adjust our rail volume to that. And we feel we're not 100% at this point in time. I can't say to you exactly how long it's going to be for, but we definitely see that that will be for at least the next 3 to 5 years that we will be operating in that system. Of course, we pray that that is going to be quicker than that, but we can't base our strategy on hope. So we now based our strategy on what the reality is that we see in that regard. In closing about the iron ore side, I think with the previous results presentation, I sat here and I had a pretty positive outlook on Transnet. I must say it is better than it was previously, and that's why if you look at last year, our outlook, our actual performance on export was just short of 12 million tons. But that included the impact of the strike. So this year we're looking at 12.8 million. So there is definitely improvement, but that improvement that we saw is not going to sustain, because there's going to be more time out, if I can call it that, on that line to fix that line properly, so that we can have a long-term sustainable improved performance on that line. On the manganese side, we were impacted by, we invested quite a lot of capital in our Black Rock mine. And that mine, as Philip rightly said, was then set up to do 4.5 million tons per annum. When this year started, we planned for about 3.7, close to 4 million tons, and we said the portion that Transnet is not going to do, we're going to do on road. And we started off the year with that, and with the prices dropping, it became very quickly very evident that the road transport is not profitable. So we simply were forced to stop the road transport, and when I say forced, I mean the economics of it. We took the decision to stop the road transport, and then again in line with all of these engagements with Transnet and everything, and the real allocation that we got. Our forecast and our outlook is that we say every ton of material road haul does not make sense for us in the manganese business. So therefore, every ton of ore that you road haul, you might as well keep that ton underground and delay the expenditure and the sale of those tonnages until such time that Transnet get their act together. So there's a lot of projects happening. So if you look again at our outlook, we said we took I wouldn't say a conservative, but certainly a realistic view that the next 2 years we'll see a 3.4 million ton rail on manganese. And then we'll push it up to 3.7 and then to 4 million tons. Our mine is set up for that. We can do that. But for now, we have to look at repurposing our mine, and I think somebody asked, I think it was Martin that asked, you go higher grade or better grade or whatever. So what we're also going to do is to see, can we balance our ore body and the mining that we do for better revenue generation with a lower volume that we're going to put out. And that's our strategy. And so we are marrying that strategy exactly with what the information that we have with Transnet and the sharing that we have with them. So for us, road hauling is really done only if there's a serious emergency and we need to fill a ship, but it's not in our plan.
In the private sector, we've got a sense of urgency. Urgency in terms of doing things consistently and focusing on it. Part of the future is both within Transnet in particular, is this partnership between the private sector and Transnet. And I think the Minerals Council is doing very good work there. And I've got no doubt that with this partnership between government and of course Transnet and the private sector, a lot of good work will be done. And as I said, hopefully we will learn from the mistakes, both in the context of Transnet and Eskom, and fix them and make sure that we don't repeat those mistakes. Yes.
Morning, it's Nicholas Wooden from Standard Bank Securities. So I've just got two questions, also on the iron ore and manganese. At last results you spoke about rail optimization and potentially rerouting to increase the sort of export volumes. Have we seen that? Did that come through now in 1H, or was this purely just based off a low base from the previous year? And then the second question relates to the manganese operations. And I know there's been a few operational issues. I just want to know, I mean, you mentioned in the presentation that it has been sorted out, but maybe just some color on what they were, and potentially if we can expect the same, volumes from 2 periods ago to come through.
To your question, the improvement that we saw, there's two reasons for that. The one is it's against the low base of the strike, and then the other one is, but also remember that in this period that we're reporting on, we also had a shutdown. The annual shutdown, which was not in the previous period. So this next 6 months that we're going to see now, I'm very confident that on an annualized basis, so let's say for the next 6 months, previous 6 months 6 million tons, next 6 months I see 6.8 million tons. So there will be improvement because there has been some work done, but that improvement is not sustainable because we've got to take time out on the line to fix the line properly. We, in the collective of us and Transnet. So we've got to do that, and that will pay off. If we don't do that, you're going to see just further deterioration. So the idea is to stabilize at that level and then do the work, and then in a couple of years' time we pick up and we get our volume. So our mine is geared up for that. So when that happens, we're there. We can make it happen. On the manganese side, I think if I can describe the problem as threefold. Number one is that because of the volume that we had to stop, because of the road haul, that we took a decision that we're not going to do the road haul. And there were some low-grade material that we were mining at the mine. So we had to stop all those workplaces and redeploy those people to areas where you have a better grade product. And that's not something that happens overnight. And when the guys started in those new areas, we also had some, it's different, if I may say, it's different to a gold or platinum mine. That we had quality issues. In other words, the exact grade that we thought was there and the material that we put on surface wasn't exactly correct. So we had to do quite a bit of a correction to get that quality issue sorted out. Manganese ore is almost like 37% is like bananas and 42% is like apples. You don't blend the two. So there was some of that happening, which made the product more difficult to sell, and we had to rectify that. But we've done that now. We've got through the process. We positioned where we should be positioned, and there's a lot of positive feedback. And we've got audit teams now going to the mine basically on a monthly basis to help the teams to get through and get themselves established, and that's happening. So I'm very confident that by literally 2 months from now, we've already made like a 70% improvement to where we are today. So there's still about a 30%, but that's more related to the quality of the material that we mine. And we will be ready, and we'll go strong from the new year based on our new production profile, which is aligned with and matched to the Transnet profile.